Awesome. Well, Nick, thanks for jumping on, man.
Yeah, of course, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I'm curious for anybody watching this, just if you could talk through what's the biggest challenge or struggle that you were experiencing before we started working together?
Basically just moving around in life in general, getting up out of bed, getting in and out of the car, getting out of the office chair, uh, things along those lines that were like, I kind of took for granted. All of a sudden, I couldn't do as well as I could. And it was painful, and I didn't know where to begin, basically. I went to many doctors, kind of got the run around with them. Finally, they suggested I go and get an MRI and found out that I had a herniated disc.
Mm.
And the disc above that was kind of flattened more like a pancake or more flat than what it should be. Um,
Not the kind of pancakes we want. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, it was just frustrating. It took, oh, geez, probably about 7 months for them to finally get to where they had a good idea on what was going on. Um, and then once they figured it out, they didn't really give me many guidelines other than go to physical therapy for a month. That didn't really do much. And then the other thing was lose weight and exercise. And so, I didn't know where to begin on that either because I hadn't really exercised, lifted weights in probably about 8 to 10 years.
Yeah. When, if I recall, a lot of what was happening to you is you were in this debilitating pain. So daily life was difficult. So a generic go exercise prescription can be really tough because it's like, well, where do I start? If I'm having a hard time getting out of pain, what do I do? Right.
Right. I mean, I could barely walk. So
Yeah.
how, how am I going to go exercise or what would be the correct step?
Yeah.
So,
I tell a lot of my clients, and I know you and I've talked about this, that if you are driving around a car that has some imbalance in either the alignment or the wheels are off out of balance, you could probably make it around town, and you might get a little thumping here and there, but it's not going to hurt you too bad. But you might be a little cautious. As soon as you jump on the freeway, that car's going to be bouncing all over the place, and our bodies are the same way, right? Your pain was debilitating you in just daily life. But then if you were to go exercise, it's like throwing you into the freeway and your wheels, your alignment's all off. It's just going to make everything worse. So, oftentimes that generic experience, or excuse me, that generic prescription doesn't quite work. Excuse me. Talk a little bit about how dealing with the pain. How did that make you feel?
weak, feeble, like I could get taken advantage of
Mm.
quickly, just out in life, like it just was debilitating all over. I had a newborn. It was kind of hard to bend over and put her in the crib,
Mm.
get her out, sit down in the rocking chair. My other kids, it was kind of tough to play with them. Um, so it kind of made me feel less, I guess, less of a person.
What about so as a father? I mean, that's got to be really difficult. I'm as you know, a father of three, and those young years are so critical to the connection that you build with them. I mean, talk about what you felt like you were missing out on without being able to engage with your kids in the way that you wanted to.
Just probably the happiness. Like, I could kind of engage with them, but I was always moaning and groaning and probably cussing a few words, hopefully
Yeah,
not in front of them too much, but
I
probably.
resemble that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough, especially with a newborn. So let's talk a little bit about where things changed for you. So when we started working together, walk us through what started to change for you.
Oh, just probably building confidence and seeing that I could do it. And, I tend to probably, when I did work out in the past, I would just jump right into it. And then I
Mm.
kind of had to change my mindset to not just go right into it and think I can lift and run and jump and squat and all that. I think kind of baby steps, like you started me out just doing air squats, planks, push-ups, and a few stretches. And I would do those at home daily, and it progressively got better
Yeah, yeah.
to a point where I could work out a little bit more, lift a little bit more weights. actually kind of get back to how it was.
Yeah, and it was a process, right? I mean, to get
Oh
to where
yes,
you were in pain to where you now really no longer experience pain anymore, right?
correct. Yep.
So,
Yep.
how long was that for you?
Before the pain went away.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. We started in like August, correct? It probably took about November to December
Okay.
for it to fully go away. But it would kind of be more intermittent, and I could see there were signs of it starting to go away.
Mhm.
But there were still certain movements, we talked about like just getting out of the office chair, swinging my left leg over
Yeah. Yeah.
was tough. And that's when I knew, okay, it's not fully healed.
And that's an interesting thing, like that a lot of people don't realize is that pain's not something that's either there or not, right? And when you go through this process, and your body starts to shift and change. So we had you doing some exercises that we progressively made more difficult. We had you doing some stretches. We had you doing some other soft tissue work and mobilization. But then every once in a while, there was a new movement, like swinging the chair or the leg over, that became, in a way, a red herring, right? Your body's saying, "Wait a minute, that we can't do this." Well, at that point, you were already squatting and you were already doing so many other things that you could swing the leg over, but we needed to strengthen some other areas, right? And so that's those moments are moments where I think they're kind of realizations for most people where they say, well, okay, I've got to do a few other things, but gosh, this is a process. And if we stick with this process long enough, then we're going to eradicate the pain, for life. So as we went through this process together, I know you've achieved some really amazing feats. If you think about the fact that you couldn't function in day to day life, but I'm really curious, what are the results that you have achieved that you're most proud of?
Um, probably just the change of my body. Like I feel like it's kind of getting back to where it was. Not that I was always in great physical shape, but
Mm.
like kind of sporty, could go out and just play pickup basketball, go ride my bike and feel fine afterwards. I think I've noticed that. And then, you had me doing those wall jumps the other day. And like I told other people, like, I think you have more faith in me than I did.
Yeah,
You told me to do that. And I was like, I don't think that's gonna happen. And it happened. And I was
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
impressed with that. And I thought that was good.
I think that's really what's cool is you've kind of restored the youth of that comes with athleticism, right? So
Yeah.
you've gone from not being able to walk and sit without pain to where now you can do jumps. You can do what were you squatting the other day? So back squat. You're now not just doing air squats with your body weight. You've now got a barbell on your back and you're doing back squat for how much?
205 pounds. And
For
I'm
how
doing
many?
about three sets of 12
That's a
reps.
that's amazing when you think about that,
Yeah.
right? I mean, to go from you could barely squat without pain just with your body weight to now you're in a situation where you're doing 12 reps for 3 sets of over 200 pounds. That's unbelievable.
Yep.
How does that make you feel?
Good. Good. Gives me faith in you.
It just should give you faith in yourself, right? We'll talk a little bit about how the results have kind of affected you, because I know it's cool to see the physique changes. It's cool to feel the strength and get that athleticism back. I want to circle it back to what you were talking about earlier with your kids. What's changed with you and your interaction with your kids, and what that looks like for you?
Oh, it's changed immensely. I mean, we go kayaking, we go like we're pretty active for the most part. I missed a whole year of snowboarding because of
Yeah,
it. So did my
yeah,
daughters. We did a little bit more last year. Uh, just more active all in general. I can, just tonight, Addie threw something up on the ceiling. It's like a sticky hand toy. And I was
yeah,
able to lift her right up and she grabbed it. And, beforehand, it'd be like, I'd be grabbing chairs and pulling them over and hoping to get it that way.
yeah.
Just like, oh, come here, I'll just lift you up. And it's easy.
It's awesome. That's what we call dad strong, right? You
My
got the
exercises
dad
at
strength.
home. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that, and that's one of the things we talked about because I know that you love to be engaged with your kids. And so one of the things we had talked about as part of your program is let's progressively make these things, these exercises more difficult while you're doing things with your kids. So I think at one point we had you, pushing your little one in the stroller and doing some lunges along the way,
Yeah.
right, to help to stretch out. We had you doing some body weight squats, holding onto your baby, just doing some random stuff that we're going to put these inputs into your body to help your body to just say, hey, we don't need to be in pain anymore. We can get strong. We can release this pain and we can have more mobility. Talk about as you're doing those things with your kids, lifting them up to get the toy off of the ceiling. What's that doing inside to you as a dad?
So it's fulfilling, it makes me feel good that I can actually do that. Cause like I said, for that, when I was injured and wasn't able to do everything that I could do, it just makes you feel not as productive and not, as a protector. And, you want to be there for your kids. And it's kind of like, well, I'm in bed or I'm laying on the couch. Not going to
Yeah.
happen,
Yeah.
So I think finally to be able to do it was, it, it's gratifying. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think as dads, we want to be engaged. We want to be there. We don't want to be on the sidelines, right?
Yeah.
We never
Correct.
wanted to be on the sidelines when we were playing sports when we were younger. And as dads, we don't want to be on the sidelines now, right?
Correct. Yep.
So, Nick, what would you say to somebody if someone's in pain right now and they think that they're going to just get better with not doing something, or they think that somehow that pain's going to go away? Maybe they've gone to a doctor, maybe they've done physical therapy. What would you say to someone who's sitting on the fence about getting started?
So I would just do it. Tell them to jump in immediately. Um, Start little, take baby steps, and diet correctly. Cut back on whatever kind of you were doing that wasn't so well, and yeah, just baby steps. I think would be my best advice, and then you'll see how quickly it starts to build up and compound, and then you can start doing more movements, exercises, all of the above.
Yeah. The basics work, and then we add more complexity later. So I love that advice. Well, great advice. And Nick, thanks again. I mean, your story is inspiring. I think, a few things that we didn't talk about at the beginning that I want to make sure that I praise you for. Not only you're squatting a lot of weight, but you're doing pull-ups, you're doing bench press, you're doing all of these things that athletes do, right? Dads don't always do, but athletes do these things. And you're doing those things at a very high level. I mean, you're cranking out significant amount of pull-ups, oftentimes with weight tied around your waist, right? You're doing bench press, you're doing all of the things that are continuing to make you stronger. You've lost some body fat, you've gained some muscle, you look better, you feel better, and you're showing up better as a dad. I mean, kudos to you because you made some great changes there.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, sir. Well, that's it. I appreciate the story.
Cool.
That's
Yeah.
that's going to be super helpful. Remind me how old you are. I know I
40.
could have looked 40. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I've got a guy in his 30s. I've got you. I've got two guys in their 50s. I got a guy in the 60s. I got a guy in the 70s, and I'm trying to compile these together so people can look and say, "Oh, that guy looks like me. Oh, that guy, yeah, I can.
Yeah,
He's my
yeah,
age."
smart.
So that then they can see that they don't need to be in pain for a long run.
Okay.
So
Yeah. You
awesome.
know what? One thing though, I was going to tell you what I still do a ton. You taught me to, go skip a step when I'm doing stairs,
Yeah,
and I'm doing
yeah,
stairs daily, like both offices, the Park City, Salt Lake, and I still do those. And I think that really helped. And like some days, like when I'm not in a rush to get up, I'll kind of really like lean into it. You know how you
yeah,
taught me to do that and kind of open
yeah.
up the hips, and I think that still helps.
So just the daily things of skipping a step while you're
Yeah,
walking upstairs and
yeah,
leaning
correct.
forward, it just helps to continue to put that stretch input. And that's something that's really cool because it's not, you're not doing a specific stretch routine. You're just saying, hey, this is something I'm doing. I'm walking upstairs. But how do
Yeah,
I turn this thing into a stretch so that I improve my overall hip mobility, my strength, and then make my lower back strong? That's
yep,
awesome. Good
yeah,
for you.
yep.
Great
Thanks
job,
for
man.
showing that. That helps.
Yeah, great. All right, man. Well, hey, thanks for carving some
Cool.
time out. I know you're a busy guy with your kids, and I really can't thank you enough. That's super
Yeah,
helpful.
yep, absolutely. Anytime. We'll see you Tuesday.
All right, brother. Take care.
Yeah, take care.
We'll see you.
Bye.
Thanks.